Welcome to The Next Shift, moving up in the restaurant industry, the podcast that takes you inside the wins, the losses, and the chaos behind the restaurant business. Hosted by Jorge Luis Ortiz Garcia, CEO of Far West Restaurants. The man who started from the bottom and now leads over 160 Wingstop locations and counting. No scripts, no filters, just real stories from the trenches of the food industry. Let's get into it.
Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, this is.
Are we gonna do an intro or anything? Like, are we telling people why we're doing this?
This is a. I prepped some questions for you.
I understand that, but are we going to tell people why we even went?
Yeah, this is all you. I thought you wrote the script.
I have no script. Do you not know me? I do not have a script in life. So the purpose of this podcast was, or the reason we're doing it is more than anything, try to help. And I want to disclose something before I say that, is that anything that's said in this podcast is not a part of Far West Services or its affiliates or Wingstop at all. It's me, it's my life, it's the things that I've learned in this incredible platform and the things that I would like other young leaders to know. So that's the purpose behind it, that as this company has grown, I found myself away from restaurants, which is where I grew and I learned, and it's my way of kind of going back there. And I've had team members come up to me and say, hey, we want to hear, we like your message, we haven't heard from you. So this is kind of my way of putting something out there for people to grasp on, and hopefully it's helpful. Shout out to Roberto, because he's been telling me to do this podcast for a long time in Vegas. And obviously you, Sergio, encouraged me too. So hopefully it helps people. That's the intent of it. Again, don't do this at home. We are not liable if you follow my advice and you end up under a bridge somewhere with no money to pay your rent. I'm just kidding. I think most of the advice we give is out there. But I also wanted to make sure that this got into some minorities' hands, Latinos, brown people, and anybody in the restaurant industry. I think if it helps them advance in their careers, that's kind of the purpose of it.
Awesome. Well, I think we should start with who you are. I think a lot of people, especially people that are not familiar with you, obviously have no clue who you are. So I prepped a couple of random questions for us to talk about. The first one was actually what inspired you to start the podcast, and I think you did a really good job at covering that before we even got there. We're ahead of the game. I will say I remember when we went to Utah for a store opening, and we were driving back and we were listening to a podcast, and we both, I think at the same time, were like, we should start a podcast. And you're like, oh, Roberto already told me, but we've never done it. So it's cool that it's been on our board of things we want to do. We call them passion projects, and it's nice to finally sit around and actually have the equipment, and it feels very exciting. It feels like the beginning of something. So with that being said, George, what is your background in the restaurant industry?
So my background in the restaurant industry goes all the way back to my mom. She came to this country illegally when I was about 5 years old, and she ended up working in the Noggles. For those of you that don't know what Noggles is, there's a few in Orange County, actually. Don't go there. They actually suck. It's not what it used to be. But Del Taco bought them out. So they took all the name of Noggles away and they turned them into Del Tacos. So my mom worked at the Del Taco, and that's what I knew when I came to this country is, and one of my favorite things in life was when my mom got home and I was already asleep because she worked late at night, is, that smell, that restaurant smell that everybody hates. When she just came home and hugged me and gave me a kiss as I was asleep. And sometimes I wasn't asleep. I just played asleep because if I was awake, I was going to be in trouble. So that kiss that she gave me and she approached me, and that smell in her clothes of just the grill, the food and the oil impregnated in those fabrics, it's such a great reminder for me. And I think I just got drawn to that. And I did work in Del Taco with her briefly because I graduated early from high school. When I came back to this country, I was going to be 18 before the date of graduation. So I couldn't go to a normal high school. So I had to go to a adult school. So I did all the tests. I graduated early from the adult school, and I had like 3 months to kill before the summer and starting college. So I went and worked with my mom at the Del Taco at the graveyard shift because it paid more, and she needed somebody to work graveyard. So she used her underage kid to work graveyard. You got to give credit to my mom. So I started working in restaurants there, and it was honestly, for all of you guys that are going to listen to this, I never dreamt of working in restaurants. Like, that wasn't my goal. Even when I started working at Del Taco, I didn't want to end there. I didn't want that to like be my career. I thought restaurants were beneath me, that it was just like jobs that people got, people that were lazy or that didn't speak good English. And, so working at restaurants wasn't like that job that I really wanted. And over the years, worked at Del Taco. Then from there, I had an opportunity to go work at Kukuru. My friend Santiago actually, got me that job in Irvine, and kind of had an opportunity there to become a shift manager because no one else wanted the job. My friend Santiago was always better at me at everything. Like, he was super charismatic. He was great in sports. He was so much better working at Kukuru on Expo than I was. He knew every position. And they offered him the shift manager position. And he was still playing soccer at the time, so he didn't want the responsibility. And I wasn't doing anything. I was doing part-time college. So I said, yeah, let's go. And I became a shift manager by second choice. By, what do they call that?
You were the second option. You were the backup.
I was the backup. And then after that, I mean, I had some really good managers I learned a lot from. Francisco Perez, Burton Heiss, I remember him too. Although he had a temper issue, I still learned a lot of things from them. And honestly, I was good at it. Someone believed in me and told me that I could be a leader, and I grabbed onto that, and I just haven't let go. And then from there, went to other restaurants, Rubio's, Baja Fresh, and had kind of have built a career in restaurants. But this is definitely not what I wanted to do. I could say that most of us want to do work that makes a difference and we get energy from. When I started in the restaurant industry, that wasn't it for me. So this is why one of the reasons I want to do the podcast is I want to tell people is like, just because you're in a certain place today and you may not be getting energy from it, the reason why you're not getting energy from it is because you think you're not good enough, or you're not good, or that's not what you want. Once you realize that you can make a difference regardless of what you're doing, that's where the energy comes from. That's where the confidence comes from. That's where you feel like, okay, maybe I'm good at this. And once you start being good at it, you start making money, you start getting promotions, and everything else kind of comes easy.
It's funny you mentioned nobody plans to work in the industry. When I was in high school, and Chris, who is also in the room with us, can probably attest to that. All the teachers would use, do you want to end up working at McDonald's or at a fast food restaurant, as like let me ignite a fire in them to make sure that they pass the class and to do all that. And I remember that was always the threat. So personally speaking as well, I never thought I'd do in restaurants as well. I was passionate about my jobs in the beginning, yeah, but to me, it was kind of like a stepping stone onto what I really wanted to do. So, I think in the last couple of years, a lot of people have definitely changed their mentality on what the restaurant industry is versus what it was before. I think a lot of the times people didn't view the restaurant industry as a place where you could develop a career. That's why it was always the place where all of the bad people went. Almost like a continuation high school, if you're familiar with those, where, they have the kids that are underperforming.
Well, that was the high school I went to.
Yeah, and
I was an underperforming kid all my life.
And they have a high school that was the sister continuation high school of where I went, and they would always use that as a threat too. Like, if you continue, you're going to end up there. If you do this, you're going to end up there. And I think in the last couple of years now, if you go to high schools now, they offer like job fairs and stuff, and they encourage you to go find employment within restaurants, and they encourage you to find careers, which is something that I think is really different and really more dynamic and encouraging for those people that don't necessarily want to follow the educational route of things.
Well, I always say that if we treated the restaurant industry as a career, just like if you were like a doctor or an engineer, anyone that's successful in any field, they need to put in the time. And I sometimes feel like the restaurant industry gets this bad rep because it's long hours. But go look at an engineer that's successful. He's working 50, 60, 70 hours a week beginning. Again, the restaurant industry gets this bad rep, but in any industry, at anything you do, if you're not fully committed and working hard and putting in the hours, you're never going to be successful. It doesn't matter if you have an education, that it doesn't matter. So, anytime I hear bad rep on the restaurant industry, like, this is an incredible industry and you can make so much money here. Everybody's got to eat. I always say that, right?
Talking about the restaurant industry and money, I resonate with what you said. I think in the beginning when I started, I didn't give it the time. If I had given it the time, I think I could have grown faster. But I had other priorities at the time when I was in college.
I had to convince you.
You really had to convince me, and I still think I took even more convincing than you wanted. Because I was really sold on the idea that I wanted to follow a career in performing. And to me, like, I didn't think that performing was something that was going to be useful in the restaurant industry. And I think that my degree in performing arts and all of that kind of really helps me do a lot of the stuff that I do now. The restaurant industry is able to find and use the talents of different people no matter what background you come from, which is, I think, is something really special that not a lot of workforces have, where you don't necessarily need to just be good at that one thing. If you come with a special skill, you can leverage that skill to take you to the next thing. All right. Well, the next question is, I know you talked about the podcast and who you want to listen, but is there anyone in specific that you think would benefit from listening to the podcast?
Just young leaders getting into the restaurant industry and people being stuck in the restaurant industry. If you've been a shift leader for a long time, if you're a single unit manager for a long time and you seem to get stuck, I think they will benefit a little bit from some of the things we'll discuss here, whether it's, having tough conversations or how to even go and ask your supervisor for guidance and development and opportunity for investment. A lot of times we wait for the right opportunity to come our way when we need to aggressively maybe go look for it. And also something you're going to hear me say a lot is follow leadership, don't follow money. Because I think a lot of times there's incredible companies out there that have the right leadership, the right culture, but maybe they don't pay the same as other companies do. And we fall trapped into the high salaries early in our careers. And once you fall into the wrong company that pays you a lot of money, it's so difficult to leave it because you can't afford to. And that's how bad companies with bad cultures continue to stay alive, because they pay people a lot of money, but they work them so hard. So I always say that follow leadership, don't follow money, because ultimately leadership is going to develop you, guide you, and give you more opportunities of growth. What was the question?
Well, the original question was, who is this podcast for?
Yeah, so it's for those folks, right, that got trapped and are just, they feel like they're stuck. And again, I'm Hispanic, I'm brown. I want people that look like me, that talk like me, to understand that there's opportunities and that within the industry and that you can achieve a ton. That's one of the things that surprises me, to see so few people that look like me have jobs like this, right? To be able to lead a company this size and to sit in boardrooms and sit in corporations in their meetings and look around the room and really see the diversity, especially in Mexican American, Hispanic, Latinos. We're just not represented enough, and I think that's kind of. I know it's small, and I know this podcast is probably not going to be heard by like 3 people. One of them being my siblings. Hopefully, they even listen. I don't even know, but it's part of that too. Is if we can change that or add any value that changes that'll be awesome.
Okay, perfect. A great answer. Now, I think we talked about the beginning of a new era of the restaurant industry, where we're trying to see more people from different backgrounds. I think people are pursuing the restaurant now as a career, which is something that really has shifted the dynamic. What is one of the challenges that you think the restaurant industry is really facing today, like today in 2025? What is the biggest challenge, in your opinion, that restaurants across the world are really facing right now?
understanding or moving away from that bad rap that restaurants are bad. I think for a lot of young people to see that this could be a path of, a career and economic stability, financial stability. I think again, it's just get the restaurant industry getting over that bad rap, and we all want that job that is 9 to 5, right? I think that if we move past that and are flexible with those options, people can really build careers in the restaurant industry. And that's to me, that's one of the most important challenges that the industry faces today is getting over that bad rap, and it gets worse, right? It's like with this FAST Act in California, and people thinking that restaurants are bad and they should pay people more because they're restaurants. It's like you have other industries that don't pay people the amount of money that right now restaurants need to pay in California, and we get singled out. It's just getting over that bad rap that restaurants are bad. Now, is there a lot of companies that treat their team members bad? Yeah, but I would say that's in every industry. It's not isolated to restaurants, and I just think restaurants just get that bad rap.
Yeah, I think rebranding for the restaurants as a place where you can have a career is really important. I think in terms of the way restaurants go about rebranding and offering careers for people, if you look over the last couple of years, people are now like really amping their career websites where they're able to show a clear career path for all of the people that come and go. I have an interesting story. I had a friend in college. We were in school together actually, and at that time I was pursuing a career in musical theater. Now, the musical theater industry pays okay. I'm not going to say that it pays, I think, over 6 figs. And, to do 6 figs, you really have to be well known, and you have to, put in at least 15 years of kind of work into, getting over that 6 fig mark. My friend, or my acquaintance now, because we're not really friends anymore, my acquaintance was like, oh, you're pursuing a career and, something that's never going to give you money, blah, 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 blah. And he was pursuing a career in mechanical engineering. And, now we reconnected a couple of times, and I was like, oh, well, now I'm doing this with restaurant industry. And he even, talked more down, and he was like, oh, well, now you're stuck there. You're never going to do this. You're never going to do that. And I saw him late last year, and I told him what I was doing now. And he was like, oh, I saw your LinkedIn profile. Like, I can't believe you're doing that. Like, blah, 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 blah. And, I gave him a ballpark of what I was making, because he would always be like, oh, I'm making X amount of money.
Be honest. You showed him a pay stuff.
I told him.
You pulled out your pay. You put up your what's it called, Paycor, Chris? You pulled out your Paycor on your app on your phone. You're like, here, dude. This is how much I make. Now what?
No, I believe in being transparent about salaries, but that's another conversation in its own. But this guy's not necessarily the most nicest person in the world. So he was like, oh, like I'm doing this. And then he tells me his ballpark first, because, he thought he was flexing. And then I'm like, that's it? And he's like, oh, like, what are you making? And I was like, oh, I'm doing this. And he was like, in restaurants. And I was like, yeah, like, there's stuff beyond working in an actual restaurant that can pivot you, and, you can do other stuff. You don't just work inside of a 4 walls frying food or, rolling burritos or anything like that. And I think from then on, he kind of clicked, and he understood that, just because, I'm working in restaurants doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not capable of escalating or growing into something else or making X amount of money. And from then on, we haven't talked, unfortunately, because the conversation was not the most pleasant towards the end. But it's really nice to be able to connect and say that the industry really is now rebranding into a place where people can have a career, and you don't need to necessarily follow the
I don't think it's there yet. I don't think it's there yet. I think that there's work to do, and I think it's up to companies to actually change that narrative. The In-N-Outs of the world, the Chick-fil-A's of the world, like Chick-fil-A has this halo effect that everybody thinks that they're perfect, and they're not. It's just they to your point, their brand has this, halo effect that everybody thinks that, but I mean, they have their opportunities just like everybody else. But yeah, I mean, when I see what In-N-Out does, and all their managers are internal, and what they do, and how much they pay them, that I love that. I mean, that's always been kind of what I look at for guidance when it comes to the industry, and I want us to be looking more like In and Out. And I always say we're the In and Out of wings. But anyway, so we still have work to do. But yeah.
Okay, let's get things going. So the next question I have is kind of like a fun one. What do you think is the most underrated role in a restaurant? The one that nobody really gives attention to, but really is the hero?
I think that's a hard question.
I knew I was going to stun you with this one.
No, well, because it's. I don't think there's a right one. I think it's, and I'm going to sound like it's like that customer that goes up and asks the cashier, "What's good?" and then the cashier says everything. I cringe every time I hear that. I'm like, that's bullshit. Something needs to be better than other stuff. But no, I think the position. I think all of them. I mean, I think if you think about our cooks and how hard they work and how committed they are. And you think about our cashiers too, and how they have to deal with guests walking in late at night. Some of them being a little bit, stoned and or drunk, and it's not easy to deal with guests like that. And if you talk about our shift managers and the responsibilities they have, like think about a 18, 19-year-old shift leader running these businesses that are over $1 million in revenue, and they're 18, 19 years old with very little training. It's just like, think about that responsibility that we put in their shoulders. And then they're leading a team of 10, 12, 13, 15 people, depending on the shift and the volume of the restaurant. And they have to lead it. They have to send people on break. They have to deal with little conflicts. They have to deal with all that stuff. It's not easy, and then being a general manager, orchestrating all of that, building a schedule that's like a fucking art to do that, right? I always say, like, building a schedule is an art. Not everyone can do it, to please everyone, to take everyone in consideration, making sure that you're being flexible, but you're also being consistent. There's so many things that are very complex within the restaurant industry and those positions that I feel like every single one of them is an essential part of why the restaurant industry works. So all of them.
All of them.
And then if you go above that, like the district manager has such a huge impact because it's almost like they're the culture setters, right? If they believe in something, whatever the company sends in communications, if the district manager knows how to filter that, how to echo the message, echo the urgency, or knows how to put the message out there in a positive way, it drives the energy, it drives the culture. So again, every position I think is essential to the restaurant.
When you were talking about being responsible at 18, my first leadership role was kitchen manager, and at that time I was working with Chipotle, and I think I was probably 18 and a half, probably 19, and that was probably the scariest thing I've ever done. Like, being responsible, like if someone comes in with like a robbery or anything like that, and you're like, I'm literally the person in charge of all of those people in the building. I hope I know how to do my job. I hope I remember everything that they trained me. I hope I know who to call. And I remember the first shift that I worked by myself, I was closing, and I went home and I told my mom what I had done. And I was panicking because I was like, oh my gosh, did I lock the door? Did I make sure that this got done? And I'm like, damn, like, how do they trust like someone with actual no experience to run a restaurant, take care of people and take care of guests at the same time, all while, ensuring that the business
How old
runs.
Were you?
18 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, like, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I think it became easier because I had already, experienced it with other brands and stuff like that. But
that's the uniqueness of the restaurant industry. Like, think about any other industry that does that. Gives the keys to an 18-year-old kid to run $1 million business, or sometimes even more than that. I mean, who does that?
It's like, if we correlate it to like a corporate setting, it's like giving a CFO role to an 18-year-old.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just it's that's why, to me, this is the restaurant industry is amazing. And it also, I'm at awe that people don't really see that and don't use it to build careers here, because they will give anybody an opportunity. I mean, here we are a little pickier. Obviously, we have a thorough interviewing system. We have a great training program. And we have incredible systems that we built over the last close to 20 years. You know, a lot of the stuff you've done lately, but it's incredible. No one does that.
Like, go be great. And here are your keys and here's your alarm code.
I remember having a meeting a few years ago when we used to have the meetings in the library.
Oh, I remember those.
And I asked people kind of what each of them thought that the business did in sales a year. And everybody was so far off. And when I started getting to the millions, everyone was like, you know, they wouldn't realize that the fact that they were running these businesses.
I think when you're in the moment, you don't feel it, and you're just cooking, as Chris would say. It's really special what happens on like weekend nights. I would love working in the restaurants on weekend nights, and there's just something so special about the air, the people, like the vibes, the people that are coming, the regulars, like the sporting events.
I think you're smelling the weed that comes through the customers.
No.
Is that what you're saying?
That's
the vibes that you're getting?
It's just the vibes. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna tell you something on the podcast that I sent Nikki a screenshot. So you know how I have my whole other makeup artist thing outside of this, right? So people, oh my gosh, Nikki's laughing because can you show him the screenshot I sent you? Yeah. And then I'm gagged. I'm gagged.
People thought it was gonna be about the makeup stuff?
No. Like people in the restaurants are starting to find my TikTok and they're starting to message me things like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I panicked.
You're famous.
Where did they comment this?
You're famous.
I'm famousness.
So wait, Sergio. So what you're saying, guys, is this what Sergio's saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. He's saying he's going to carry this podcast.
No,
his fame. His fame is going to carry this podcast.
That's not what I'm saying. I was just like, my first concern, and Becky would be proud of me. I was like, the social media policy, and I was like,
what store is 2250?
2550 is the new Main Street.
It's the one
on Main Street. Yeah. I don't remember the numbers anymore, guys. You need to tell me the names.
Oh, okay. Well, now's a good time to tell you because people will comment. People will find your things and be like, I think it should be this.
Awesome. Okay, over under, Chris, how many people are really going to even find it? How many people are going to listen to this?
You have to speak it into the microphone.
Granted, our YouTube videos get maybe less than 25 views after a 6-month period. So
okay, you're done.
I'm shooting for the stars here, and I'm going to say if we have one GM for every store location, we should have 150 views or listeners on this podcast.
I like your bet. You're a betting man with he's like has facts. Love it.
Do you want to hear my number?
Yes, please.
Okay. Given track record of our performance on social media, I'm kidding. I'm going to say a solid 218. I feel like 218 is a safe bet.
218?
Yeah.
Nikki?
I do think it's going to be over 200.
Over 200.
Because you know everyone in this freaking office wants to listen to this so bad.
I don't think so. I doubt that.
The amount of people that were like, what are you guys going to talk about? When are you guys starting?
Oh my God.
When is the first episode?
If one more person asked me what I was going to talk about, I was going to lose my crap.
So everything I do is through chat. GPT, for those that are unfamiliar.
That is a podcast on its own, by the way.
That's a conversation on its own. So I asked chat to give us some options for podcast names. The very first one, the suggestion was fix this, : a podcast of unhinged excellence.
Don't say colon on the podcast. :
George, if you don't say colon, how do you say colon without saying colon?
Just do the cap. Like,
fix this.
Can you
pause?
Okay. Yes, there you go. Thank you.
A podcast of unhinged
Outstanding.
excellence.
Yes, you're pivoting right now.
Okay, so that was a great start, and we loved that. And then I said, awesome, give me more options like that. And then it gave us a few more options, and then I asked for a few more options. And then we basically decided that fix this, a podcast of blank would be what we would go with. And we were finding what that blank would be.
What blank is.
What did you love the most?
Well, read the options, because I think we landed on the last 4, right? There was 4?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there was top 4.
Okay, so one was fix this, a podcast of unhinged hustle. That was the one that we liked a lot.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the word unhinged, I don't know if that's how I want to describe myself right now.
Do you know what unhinged is?
I do.
What is it?
Please, next one.
Okay.
Don't test my vocabulary in front of millions of people. Oh, no. 152.
152.
How dare you?
Okay, other one we were going between was unhinged grind. But
yeah,
you liked that one, and I said no. And then we asked Chat, and Chat said hustle. So that's why
not
we went with
grind,
that.
hustle.
Yeah.
That's probably way better.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
So we're keeping the word hustle is what I'm hearing.
Hustle should be in the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like hustle. So then we were going based off of which one had the better acronym, trying to find a good name with a good acronym. Mm-hmm. That just didn't really.
It didn't work.
It didn't really work. Hustle
say-
but unhinged, HBU, snappy, easy to remember. Unhinged, chaos, and hustle, similar to UHC. It keeps the energy.
No.
There was
Yeah.
too many options.
Well, you guys listen to UHC. Like, hey guys, I'm listening to the newest podcast on Spotify and Apple Music. UGC. Wait, was that it?
One of them. So another one was
Was that, by the way, that was your podcast voice right there.
Yeah. Hello.
Stop.
And
That-
what-
ASMR.
wait, pause. Do you know what ASMR is, George?
Colon.
No, I don't know.
Colon. Do you know what ASMR? No. Hold on, let me do it again. Do you know what ASMR is?
No.
Colon.
No.
It's like those people that like are mentally stimulated through like sounds. So like they will get these like really fancy microphones that are able to pick up like the teeniest bit of audio, and then they will
Who
talk.
are
like
these
this.
people and what's going on?
They make millions off of views, like listeners and all of that. It's a whole niche in its own. So if we flop in the restaurant niche, I think we should really branch out into the ASMR podcast.
I'm going to say no to that, but let's continue, please.
Moving on.
Thank you, Nikki.
We also liked the Unhinged Hustle Chronicles, but that just sounds crazy right now.
The
I'm
Chronicles
glad
of-
we did not.
What was that movie?
Chronicles of Narnia.
There's a closet somewhere here where we're going to go in and there's going to be...
It's a wardrobe.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's still a fucking closet. Okay.
So we weren't sure about Chronicles, and then we thought the Unhinged Hustle Playbook, Diaries, Unfiltered, Saga, Manual, Weekly, whatever. There's so many different options. I couldn't even read all of them, but that was the trajectory of where we were going.
So what are we putting out there for a vote?
Okay, I think fix this colon.
A
Damn it.
podcast of Unhinged Hustle.
Okay, George, what's yours?
No, I'll vote at the end.
Oh, well, that's the only option. It sounds like that's the only
Is
option.
that the only option?
Well, that was the one that we had chose out of all the options we were
Yeah.
going over. So unless you had something completely different than what we just thought about.
I don't know. To me, is what can describe what this is, which at the end of the day is a way of us having a platform to get information out for people that look like us in the restaurant industry and helping them get ahead. So,
Should we put that into chat to see what it says?
I was just grabbing my phone.
Okay, so we're gonna put that into chat.
We're gonna start
real
all
quick.
over again.
No, because we don't want to keep everybody listening for really long.
Here, I'm going to need you to textate to text on my phone real fast.
Okay. What am I going to dictate?
Tell me what you want.
We want a name for a podcast that captures what we're trying to do in the podcast, which is help people like us that are stuck in the restaurant industry get a little unstuck and advance their careers in the restaurant industry. I think I butchered that. I can't talk to chat.
I think
feel
it was
uncomfortable.
a little redundant.
I
But
feel
we'll see what Chat comes up with. I'm sure. I believe in him.
We need a whole episode on chat, by the way.
Yeah.
We can talk about the way AI has revolutionized the restaurant industry.
I've used ChatGPT like twice for reference letters. I don't want to say who because they're probably listening to this podcast. If you have a reference letter from me, a recommendation letter, I didn't write it. I'm sorry. It was ChatGPT.
That was such a deep confession for the first episode. I would have saved that for like episode 5.
I don't think anyone's gonna listen to this, so I can say whatever I want here. I think no one's gonna ever listen to this.
If he wrote your recommendation letter, can you please email me? I'm just really curious to know who you are. I'm never asking you for a recommendation letter, by the way.
Good. I hate writing them.
Okay. Chat gave us some options. Do we want to look at the ones that are direct and motivational first? The ones that are unhinged but still professional, or the ones that are funny and relatable?
Funny and relatable.
Awesome. Okay, I'm reading the first one. The first one is we're out of 86s, career moves in restaurants. Second.
I like that one.
How about that 86 report though?
Sixth report.
The 86 report?
Oh my God, wait, that's so cool. That's
Yeah.
like a
You just got
newspaper.
it. You
No.
got it. Do you know what 86 is?
I agree.
The 86th report.
Yeah.
No.
The or no the?
I thought it was the one before the 86
No,
report.
I know that's what you. No. You said the 80. Do you know? You came up with. Yeah. You didn't know what was going on here.
So the 86 report?
Yeah.
Are you happy with that?
I loved a lot of the things we found, and then I think of, or again, I overthink stuff. You guys know.
Okay. Well, I think that was kind of cool.
The 86 report.
That
That's it.
We 80. Yeah.
Nikki, say it.
Say it into the microphone.
We 86 them. We 86
We
them
86
here.
stuff. Sometimes you got to 86.
Okay. Well, let's come back to that.
Okay.
The second.
So that's the
was-
first option, the 86 report.
Is someone writing this down?
Yeah,
Okay,
Chris is. The 86 report is the first option. Great.
Okay. Second option. No, this can't be an email. Restaurant industry real talk. That's way too long and too Sergio coded.
Did you know that no, can this be an email is engraved on the back of my iPad?
I love that. You know, that's I say that a lot. Can this no meanings?
Can this be an email?
Just send me an email. Great.
Okay. This one is last call for career growth.
That sounds a little drastic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last call also gives me bar, and we are not bar.
What does that mean?
Like last call at the bar.
Oh, I like that.
Okay, we'll keep it as option.
No, don't keep it. Don't keep it.
No.
Yeah.
Hustling, not just for tips. We also don't take tips. These are very bar coded. Not taking no for an answer. Restaurant edition.
No.
I don't love it, but it does make sense to what
Okay.
how you guys
Yeah.
live.
Yep.
Okay, that was funny and relatable. Let's do direct and motivational. I don't think we're gonna love these. Oh, this one's kind of fun. Exit through the kitchen.
Nope.
The next shift. Moving up in restaurants.
I like that one.
Oh, yeah.
The next shift, moving up
In
in restaurants. Okay, that's option 2.
Okay, Chris, you got that? Okay.
I guess now's the time to tell you guys Chris had been working on a logo.
I know that's part of his marketing class.
Well, it's all
Mr.
changing now that we changed
we
something.
had a logo with an
Oh,
Oops.
that's okay. We can
pivot.
Yes, we can pivot. Sorry,
We're
Chris.
adaptable.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Unstuck. Breaking out of the restaurant grind. I don't like that. I'm passing.
I do like Unstuck though.
That I did like that part, but the rest
Can
it said
we-
grind.
Can we marry
We vetoed.
Unstuck to the previous one?
What was the previous
What
one?
was the previous one?
Fix this.
No.
The 86th report.
Unstuck, moving up in the restaurant industry, or what was it?
The next shift.
The next shift, Unstuck. No, Unstuck in the next shift.
No, Unstuck, and then what's after the next shift? So, Unstuck, moving up in the restaurant industry,
Moving up in restaurants.
moving up in restaurants. Unstuck, moving up in restaurants. No.
I liked the 86th report.
Unstuck,
more.
colon.
Well, we're just coming up with options.
Okay.
If you
Chris,
say
write it down.
colon
We'll
one
come back.
more time,
I'm moving the mic away from
I'm
you.
gonna-
It's mine now.
I'm going to report you to my rep.
Nikki.
Inside jokes. Not
Nikki,
allowed.
Taking away the microphone from Sergio is like, what's a good analogy here? Like taking
Taking away candy from a kid.
no, that would be easy.
Oh.
I have a lot of things to say, but I don't want to cancel us the first episode.
Yeah, this is the guy that grabs a microphone in the middle of a summit and starts describing the Caesar salad.
This is the guy that also tells you hors d'oeuvres.
Oh yes. So yeah, let's say Sergio and the mic have something going on outside of work.
Me and the mic are like Nikki and chat.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's very
Facts.
yes, facts.
Okay, next one. Beyond the pass. No.
Nope,
From the line to leadership.
nope.
That's kind of cool, though, actually. The
From
line,
the line?
being on the
Like
line
the cook line?
to leadership.
I'm on the line?
Line to leadership.
But we don't really use the term line.
Yeah, a little
Why?
bit.
On the line. Get on the line.
Okay.
It kind of sounds like you're about to do
Line
sprints.
dance. Oh, I was thinking line
That too.
Yeah. Hustle and flow, restaurant edition.
Nope,
Fix this, the restaurant industry glow up.
nope,
Chaos to career, leveling up in hospitality.
nope.
Table for success, getting ahead in restaurants. Hustle, but make it management.
Nope.
No, not management. Burnt out to bossed up.
Wow. No words.
That's so Chris coded though.
Burnt out to boss step. Okay, I still like the 86th report.
All right. So how many options we have, Chris? 3?
Okay, I'm gonna pass you the mic, Chris. Chris will read the final options into the mic.
I think we're missing one to it. We need to at least give them 3.
So we have the 86 report, and then we had the one where it said this. Can this be an email? And then there's like some other words with it, but I think just the idea of like, can this be an email is actually probably better. I think keeping it short and to the point is your best option.
Sure.
Next one was the next shift, moving up in restaurants, and then the other alternative to that was unstuck, moving up in restaurants.
That's 3. All right. We're going to put those in a vote, and then we'll kind of readdress. We'll revisit.
We're gonna send the vote in the morning at 8 a.m. via Teams.
No.
I want to say for the record, I think that can this be an email is now my second choice. I think that's a good one. But I still
Just
stand
can
by the
this be an
86.
email?
Can this be an email?
Okay. We're making that a choice, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Perfect. All right. Heard.
Okay, we're all set. We're gonna circle back next episode with
Dude, it's almost been
Our
an hour.
podcast
How long has it
name.
been?
45 minutes. We have a timer.
Wow.
And we gotta edit out the airspace.
Are you done with your questions?
Yeah. Well, no. Guess how many questions we did out of the questionnaire?
3?
Yeah. Guess
And
how
how
many
many were
questions I
there?
had?
5.
My producer approved a total of 15 questions.
I also said that was not 30 minutes or
Okay.
Okay, for the record, Nikki and Chris are producing, so we have to run everything through our producers from now on. Okay, we'll do that in the next episode. But I think that this was pretty solid. Any last minute thoughts, George, before we wrap?
No, I'm excited to put this out there, and hopefully it helps people. This is kind of my way of trying to stay connected with the team and the field, and and I appreciate you guys spending some time in it. I don't know if legally I can make you guys stay here, technically, but no, thanks guys for putting this together and helping with this. But again, guys, the intent for this is not to preach. It's to just share experiences that we've had in the restaurant industry, and if it helps a few of you really continue to look into the industry to continue to grow your careers and get unstuck, it's awesome. So again, take our advice with a grain of salt. These are our experiences, and
We'll see you guys on episode 2.
Thanks for tapping into The Next Shift. Moving Up in the Restaurant Industry, hosted by Jorge Luis Ortiz Garcia. If you're about that restaurant life or love a good underdog story, make sure to follow, share, and stay tuned. New episodes drop bi-weekly. Until next time.